Hey, yo, Chicos, Thunder here, live from the dungeon. Gonna give y'all a Las Vegas casino trip that I did beginning of August, and just wanted to get some things together before I put it together. But yeah, so I left August 5th in the morning, pretty early from here, from San Antonio, and flew to Phoenix, Arizona, and did a plane transfer there, and and then I flew to Las Vegas after that. Landed about 11:30 Vegas time, and I got off the plane and did a little video that I was there. So go check that out. It's, minute long or whatever. But went down to the to where the rides are at, and I asked the lady where the bus stop was at. The city bus. Everybody's all thunder, thunder. Go take Uber. Yeah, right. Yeah, pay $45, $50. Take Uber. I jumped on the city bus for $2. Took me down to the Stratosphere. Shout out to Toothpick Ted Productions for hooking me up with Casino Quest, and shout out to Casino Quest for getting me 2 nights stay over at the Stratosphere for free. That was pretty awesome. That was, for my first experience over to Vegas, to be able to stay somewhere for free like that. That was a blessing in disguise. And, it just came out of nowhere. So I thought that was great. I did have a plan B and a plan C just in case that didn't happen. But I didn't want to be a burden on anybody. But, I got there, and it was about like, just a 2 block, walk from the bus stop to the casino. So I went over there, checked in, and dummy me, I forgot to take my credit card with me, so they wouldn't give me the room. And my host, they were trying to get the host that was for me. Her name is Lindsay, a very sweet lady. But they couldn't get a hold of her, so I'm there. I was like, they're just like, come back in an hour. We're gonna try to see if we can get a hold of her and see what we can do for you, because I didn't have my credit card. I emptied out my wallet before I left, and I forgot to put that back in. I actually thought I put it back in because I knew I was gonna need it for that. So I went down. I went to the floor. Still had my backpack on me. That's all I had. I didn't have no luggage or nothing. So I went to the floor, and they had $1 bubble craps there, the white dice. They had 4 machines there. I wasn't gonna play the table because it was already there. It was already $25 minimum on the table, so I don't want my first time to be a $25 table. And of course, I was nervous on top of that too, so that wasn't a good combination for me. So I jumped on the bubble craps, and even then I was nervous, because it's my first time, right? So I threw $20 in there, went back and forth a little bit, and then I lost it. And so I threw another $20 in there, and I went back and forth for about an hour or so, and I got it up to 138. So I actually won my $40 back, and I won a $98 profit. So I was really happy with that. So I went over to the cashier cage and cashed out. Went back to the VIP room, VIP check-in, and they said they hadn't heard back from Lindsay. So I was like, okay, So I'll come back. So I went and jumped on the roulette table. I paid $20. Put $20 on the table. It was a $5 minimum table. So I threw $20 on there, and there was another guy on there. So he had probably about, I don't know, $50, $60. And, thanks to Dice Tosser for Life for, giving me some quick pointers on the game. So check out his channel. And so, yeah, I just started playing. Just, put $5 here, $5 there. So I was actually making some money. At one point, I got up to $200 off of $20, and then I started to go down a little bit. So I was like, let me stop now before I lose too much money of my winnings. So I kept me a couple chips from the roulette table, and kept me a $5 chip because I was just surprised that I had got so much money. Not a lot, but it was quite a bit for me. So I was just planning on collecting dollar chips for my collection, but then I was like, you know what, this is free money, so I kept a couple dollar chips and a $5 chip for myself, and went and cashed out. You probably saw the picture here at the beginning of the video, but yeah, so I cashed out, and I went back to the VIP. But let me go back just a little bit, because I was supposed to meet up with Slam, my boy Slam, and I was gonna meet up with VDC, who actually lives there in Vegas, and we were gonna do the LFC Wednesday night at VDC's house, and it wasn't in the cards for me because I was trying to get the hotel room situated, and that was on my fault because I didn't take my card, and then it was just a hassle. And he was letting me know that I could stay there if I really needed to, and I was actually almost going to take him up on his offer, but when I went to the VIP room that last time, the personnel had changed in there. Not that I had problems with the personnel before, but the personnel changed. So I sat at the table and was talking with the guy, and so he finally they got a hold of Lindsay. I just waited there for a little bit, and finally she called back, and so they asked if I could put $100 deposit in cash. I was like, why not? I'm thinking I already won $245. I'll use my winnings for the for the deposit, right? So yeah, so I gave them $100 out of the winnings that I made, and they got me the room, 17th floor. Went upstairs and got situated, put all my stuff up there, and I was like, yeah, so let me go eat something. Wasn't really was just trying to be frugal because I was all I took with me was my bankroll. I didn't really take money with me to go dining or sightseeing or anything like that. So I just had my $1,500 bankroll. So I walked down to McDonald's, which was 2 blocks over, and not that far of a walk, quick 5-minute walk, and I got me some food, took it back to my hotel room, ate there, and just relaxed for a little bit. And then I was like, let me so Slam called me. He's like, hey, I'm at the El Cortez, you want to meet? So yeah, dummy me, I looked up the El Cortez. It's not too far. He was trying to convince me to take the Uber, and I'm like, I don't even have my card. I can't take the Uber. And one, I don't have the app on my phone to request the Uber anyways. So whoever out there betted that I was gonna walk to the strip, they won. So dummy me, I walked the wrong way. I ended up walking to the old strip, or wherever it is. I mean, I was downtown. I'm at the Stratosphere, so I walked the wrong way for 4 miles. Oh my God! Finally, he called me. Where you at? And I was like, dude. I think I just realized I walked the wrong way. So, so I ended up walking back, and by that time the sun was coming down. So I was, sweating. I felt like I was dirty. My legs were hurting. I stopped the Circus. This is gonna try to get me, I was gonna, jump on the roulette table, try to get me some dollar chips from there, whatever. And they had electronic roulette, so they had the actual dealer on the roulette wheel, but you sat, 10 feet away from them on an electronic screen, and you placed your bets on there, and then they would roll the wheel, whatever. And so I was like, oh well, that's a bust. And then I asked the dealer where the craps tables were at, and he said that they didn't have craps on during the week, that they only had craps, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be leaving Friday, like I think he said they were gonna open them on Friday night. So I was like, oh well, I'm leaving Friday. So that was a waste of my time. So I left Circus, and Uh, Man, there's so many homeless people down there. You feel bad. I felt bad, but it's crazy when there's more homeless people on the street than there is tourists or whatever. So I kept a couple dollars in my pocket. That way, if somebody came asking me for cash, I just I was able to just take a dollar out of my pocket real quick and hand it to them and be able to walk away without any issue, rather than taking out my wallet and possibly getting mugged or whatever. So that actually happened on my way out. As soon as I crossed the street from the gas station, because I bought me a big bottle of water, lady asked me for some change. So I passed her a dollar in mid stride, and didn't even stop and just kept on going because I was already, a block or so away from the hotel. So I got back and my legs were killing me. So uh, I decided that that was it for the night for me. I need to get my rest and get up early, but of course I didn't do that. I went down, played the bubble craps. I think I lost like $20. So I was back and forth, it was just a dollar machine, so I was just going back and forth, back and forth. And then I went up, showered out and got ready for bed. And then the next morning I got up, and when I had saw earlier the night before, there was a restaurant literally right across the street from the Stratosphere, from the Strat, and it was $5 breakfast. So I was like, oh, I'll stop there in the morning. So that's where I stopped. I got up about 7:30, slept in a little bit, because that's sleeping in for me. I'm usually up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 here at home. So sleeping in at till 7 o'clock, on a weekday was awesome. So yeah, I went over there, had some breakfast, $5 breakfast. It was just eggs, bacon, and toast, and then I just got an orange juice with that. So I spent a little bit under $10. So I ate that, crossed back over the street, got some bankroll, and about $500, and I went back downstairs and jumped on the roulette. Just threw $20 back on the table because I wanted it, because I was already nervous because I knew I was gonna play the table that morning. So threw $20 on the roulette and lost that within 10-15 minutes or so, trying to get the nerves out. And then the minimum on the crap, it was a crapless table at the Strat. They have crapless tables, so it was $10 in the morning. That early in the morning. So about 8 o'clock, I jumped on the table. There was one guy in my spot that he was in the spot that I wanted, SR1. So those, it was 3 per side, but there was only 2 people on each side when I was on there. So I was on a stick left one, and I was just doing another toss that I had been practicing, just as a backup, just in case I couldn't get my spot. So it was better that way anyways. I don't want to throw for the first time and on my spot with my throw and do horrible because of the nerves. So I was in stick left one, bought in for $300, made a little bit of money off of there. And then finally, the guy that was on my side, he left. So I was like, okay. So after that first roll that I did, because I passed the dice the first time, I didn't throw the first time because there was enough people there at the table for me to pass the dice. So I passed the dice just to get the feeling for the table and work the nerves off. And then when the dice came to me the second time, that's when I threw pretty good. Probably threw into the teens, just working on this other toss and whatever. And then the guy from my position left, and then so I was like, I felt comfortable. All the nerves were gone, so I jumped on my side and stick right one, and started betting from there. Throwing $10 in the 5, 6, 8, and 9, and did pretty good. Went down a little bit, went back up, and I was pressing. Every time I pressed up to quarters on each number, I got each number to a quarter, and then boom, 7 would come out. Or I was turning them off and on, this and that, and those times where I turned them off just the right time, those times where I turned them on at the wrong time, and I hit the small that morning, but I wasn't playing it, but I did hit the small. So yeah, I ended up walking away from the table with about $350, something like that, 300. I think I only bought in for like $200, to be honest, because it was a $10 table. So I ended up, I bought in for $200, and then I ended up walking away with 100. After about an hour or so. I went and cashed that out. Hour and a half. I don't know. I can't remember. It felt like a while. So I cashed out, and that took a lot out of me, mentally. So I went upstairs and crashed out for about 2 hours. And then Slam called me, hey, you want to meet up? And I told him, yeah, sure. He was like, he was going to meet up with me. He was going to move from the El Cortez to the Caesar. And he was like, I'll meet you there. And I was like, all right, that's fine. I told him, I was like, what time? He's like, about an hour. I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, I told him, I was like, I'm going to walk down to Sahara because it was just 2 blocks down the road, little 5-minute walk. So I wanted to go see if I can get some chips from there for my collection. So I went over there, and it was nice. It didn't smell smoky or nothing like that. They had a $10 table at noon. It was about noon at this point. And $10 table. There was nobody there, and it was a regular table. It wasn't a crapless table. So I called him back. I was like, hey, look, this is not a crapless table. It's not a hard table. I want to play here. When you get here, it's dead. I was surprised it was dead. So he was like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, we're barely getting to Caesars. I was like, all right, I'll wait for you here. I was going to wait for it to buy it until he got there. So, I got a little antsy, so I bought him for $300, and I made $20, like real quick, like within 5 minutes, because, I just placed the 6 and 8, I think it was, and I made some money. And then, so I walked away from the table, and the dealer was like, oh, you want us to color you up? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm waiting for a friend. I told him, like, I'll keep my bankroll. They're like, oh, okay. So I walked over and sat down in the slot machine, put a couple bucks in my pocket for my collection, three tokens, and waited for a little bit, and went and put $2 in a slot machine, and it was a penny machine. So I was just betting pennies, here and there. I got down to about 175, so I cashed out of that. Went back, sat down at the front at a slot machine, and then boom, I see Slam get there, and he comes in, and 50 feet away, I'm screaming at him already, what's up, you little bitch, and blah blah blah, and we're all happy to see each other, and boom, so we're walking to the table, and he asked me how much I bought in for. I told him $300. He's like, oh, okay, I'll buy in for $300. So we get there, and this dude throws $400 on the table. I was like, I thought you were gonna buy in for $300. He's like, I had to one up you. I was like, oh, of course, right? So I had stick right one, and he was at the end of the table, and it was me and him. People were coming and going. One couple came up. They rolled for a little bit. The lady was a hot shooter. She had a good, decent roll going. And then they left, and then another couple came up, and they left before they even made any bets. I think we scared them off because me and him were cussing at each other. The dealers were kind of, they weren't really into it. They were kind of like, I don't know, ignoring us maybe, not really paying attention to what we were doing, not really paying attention to the table. They just seemed like they didn't want to be there. That's what it was. And there was a little lady. She was the one cleaning the dice, because they would clean the dice. They would have 2 sets of dice up there, or two rolls of dice, and or sleeves, should I say. So they were cleaning the sleeves in between dealers, or in between players. So they had a blue set and a red set. So she would come up and she would clean the dice or whatever. Little small lady. And so me and Slam were just talking trash to each other. Finally we ended up getting the table to ourselves after about 30-45 minutes. And so I jumped over to stick left one because my toss just wasn't working for me. So me and him are literally cussing at each other across the table, talking trash to each other. The dealers are like, what the hell? So I'm getting ready to toss, and this dude yells out 7 mid-toss, right? I was like, oh, this fucking guy. So 7 pops up, and he just starts laughing. I'm like, okay. So he starts to throw, and I got $10 on, the 5 through 9. I built them all up to $25 each. And then I told the lady, turn me off. She's like, okay. So she turns me off, and I'm looking at this dude, and he's setting his dice, gets ready to toss, mid-toss. Halfway through his swing, I yelled 7 at the top of my lungs, and you can tell he tried to pull back on his hand, but it was too late, man. The dice left his hand. Boom, 7 walked up, came up, and man, I started laughing. I had my big red hat on. I ran over to the other side of the table and yelled "Big Red," and I took my hat off and I put it all up in his face. I was just laughing, and then the dealers were just mortified, man. They couldn't believe what we were doing, to each other over here. But the dealer in front of me, her eyes just lit up, and we're laughing. He's losing money. We kept doing that to each other, and I was losing a little bit of money here and there, and they couldn't believe that we were laughing and losing money. It was hilarious, so he ends up leaving the table after, man, we were at the table for about 2.5 hours at that point, just having a blast. I got down to about $175 on my $300 buy-in. So he left. He went and sat down at the blackjack table where that little lady was at. She ended up started talking trash to him. She was a little Oriental lady, Asian lady. She started talking trash to him, at the same time when he was losing money. So that was funny as hell. So I stayed in my position, and like I said, I think I had about $75 left in my rack. So I started playing. I built my rack. I built my bankroll back up. I was the only one at the table. I built my bankroll back up to about, I want to say it was like 240, 250, something like that. So I went from 75 back up to 240. And then I was like, let me just cash out. Like, I was on a good little streak, I was like, nah, let me just, I played with myself for about 30 minutes, And then I went and sat down with Slam at the blackjack, and he was actually playing the blackjack. It was $10 table, and that lady was talking trash to him. She was there, and so she was talking trash to him, telling him he's gonna cry and this and that. And I was like, oh my god! So that was hilarious. And then so I bought in. So he, I hadn't played in a long time, just playing. And like I said, never been to a casino, but so he was like, I'll teach you. So we're there playing, and with that $40, I ended up making over $100 off of that. I hit like blackjack. I hit 21 like 3 times in a row. It was crazy. They had a dealer switch, and she was a sweetheart too. Another Asian lady. She was a sweetheart. And every time that little Asian lady kept on coming by, she would talk trash to Slam so hard that he would get nervous and he would lose. So he was like, "I'm not betting when you come around. I'm not betting." So every time she would come around, he would pull his bets down, or he wouldn't bet. So that was funny. So yeah, we because we were gonna wait for VDC, because he lives there in Vegas. So we were gonna wait for him to come pick us up because he was working, and so yeah, I made about 350, something like that. Well, not 350, but I was up to 350. So I went and cashed out at the cage, kept me a $5 chip from there as well. We waited up at the front. It was about 4:30 at this point, and then I told Slam, I was like, "I'm gonna go get me some McDonald's." So I walked down around the corner, got me some McDonald's real quick because VDC finally messaged us back. He was supposed to pick us up about 3:30, but he got sidetracked at the job site. So he messaged us, and I was like, before he gets here, I'm gonna go get something to eat. So I went and got me some McDonald's real quick again, because I hadn't eaten since 7 that morning. I didn't eat lunch or nothing like that. So, I'm walking back. I'm shoveling fries in my mouth. So I ended up eating the whole fries, in the little 5-minute walk. And then I got there, ate my sandwich. And then VDC shows up, and boom, okay, cool, and he's like, "Where do you want to go?" I was like, "Wherever you want to go. You where the tables are at for cheap." So we went to the Golden Nugget. Went down the wrong way on a lane. Freaking Slam almost shit his pants. And that was funny. So we finally got to the Nugget, and it was a $10 table, and they were packed. I mean, they were packed. They had 2 tables open. All the tables, they were only doing 3 people per side. They had 2 tables full. So we all went to the restroom real quick, and then when we came out, there was a couple spots open on the table. So me and VDC were at one end. I was on the hook on stick right, and VDC was on the end of the table, and then Slam had to go to the other end because that was where the other spot was open. And so he was there at that end. And VDC was training me on his trendsetter thing, and he threw first. He threw about 24 rolls in the first roll. That was pretty good. And they were giving him crap because he was hitting the chips the way he was throwing. So we scooted over just a little bit so he can kind of avoid the chips. I bought him for $300. So yeah, we're just playing. Dice were going around the table. I had a pretty decent throw on my first throw. Went around again. My second throw, a new guy came up in the hook on the other side, so he was placing the chips in my landing zone, and so I ended up having to throw a little bit further. And when I did that, I sevened out like right away. Like I think it was like set the point, and then I sevened out. Dice were going around the table. Finally, they came to me a third time. And VDC knows his stuff, for sure. That dude was like, "You're going to throw a 9 on the come out." So, boom, I threw it, and a freaking 9 came up. I was impressed. Like, this dude knew his shit. And so we're there playing, and then this guy on the stick, he was in the hook at this point. He started freaking out on the dealer because he had put $2 on the 12, apparently. And I hit the 12. I know I hit the 12. But he put $2 on the 12, and I don't know what happened. I mean, I'm not paying attention to what's going on their end, as far as him for sure. So he started freaking out, cussing out the dealer, threatening the dealer. The pit boss came over. He's starting to threaten the pit boss and the floor manager, and over $2, man. Who knows? I don't know if he hit it at that point or not. I know I hit the 12, but I don't know if it was at that moment. I don't know if this guy had $2 on the 12. Like I said, I wasn't paying attention. So he was flipping out, and this is the middle of my throw, man. The game must have stopped for like 5 to 7 minutes, which of course feels like an eternity. They kept on passing me the dice, and either I would tell him I'm not going to throw, or VDC would say, no, he's not going to throw yet, because that was a big negative indicator for VDC. Finally, I just told the stick man, just give me the dice. Fuck it, give me the dice. So he passed me the dice, and this guy's still yelling. So I just started tossing, man. I hit the small. First, so I won some money off of the small, and this dude left. He comes back and he starts yelling and making up a big scene again. So the game stopped for like another 5 minutes again, and everybody, they finally got security over there, which was ridiculous. So this was all going on again. I didn't throw for a little bit, and then give me the dice, stick man. So he gave me the dice, and I'm just throwing. And then this whole time, this guy's just cussing up a storm. I couldn't believe they couldn't get him out of the damn casino. I felt bad for my boy Slam. I was just concerned because he was right there. I didn't want this dude to flip out. And then, Slam, was sitting on a stool, and I don't want him to get in the middle of it. So I was just kind of, waiting to see if this guy was going to flip out on anybody. And if he did, I was going to go protect my boy, man. I was going to jump on his shit real quick. But finally they got him out of there, and I was just, I didn't know what was going on at this point. There was too much going on, so I started throwing the dice again. All I needed was the 8, and there was just so much commotion, and I was so confused at this point. And boom, I hit the 8, and like I said, I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on. I was just throwing, and VDC flips out. Oh, yeah, he starts screaming. And then I looked at him, and he's like, "You hit the 8. You hit the all tall small." And I was like, "Oh, crap." And that's when I finally snapped out of whatever funk I was in. And, we jumped around, high-fived, hugged each other. And they paid us out. I feel bad for VDC. We don't know if they didn't pay him out or if the guy next to us took his money. I think they didn't pay him out because they were paying me out, and I was kind of giving him shit. And then Slam was upset because he didn't, I didn't realize how upset he was until after the fact. But yeah, so I made my money. I was going down because I got kind of crazy on the field. I wanted to make my money on the field. And I lost some, but that ATS helped me back up, and I ended up cashing out at $450 off a $300 bankroll. And that's when we talked to Slam, and we realized that how upset he was, and because of that guy, and they should have got him out of there quicker. And I agree, and so he was upset about that. I ended up seeing him cash out early, so he was just kind of sitting there. And so yeah, so he was pissed. We went and checked my rewards card. I had $10 on it. And so did VDC. So we cashed out. We got the coupons and we went back to the table. We put it down on the don't pass. Uh, I had to match it with $10. So boom, freaking 7 comes out after they set the point. Boom, we both won, $20 each. So I went and cashed this out real quick, gave him his 20, got my 20, and we took off. And I was letting Slam vent on me while VDC went to go get the vehicle. And by this point, it was already 9:30 at night. And VDC took me home. Then took Slam to his hotel, and then I was just like, that was a good night. I got chips from all these places, so not all the places, but just the two other casinos. So I crashed out pretty early because I had to get up early the next morning to go walk to the bus stop and estimate how long it would take me to get there for my bus ride home the next day. So I got up, at 7. Or no, I actually got up at 6 because somebody was blasting their music, man, so I couldn't sleep. And so I got up at 6, walked down to the bus stop. Took me about 10 minutes, 9-10 minutes. So I walked back. That restaurant, I was going to eat at the restaurant again, the $5, for the $5 plate, but they weren't open yet. So I walked inside to the casino, and they already had $25 minimum table. And I was like, damn, it's 7 in the morning. But of course it's Friday, so I was like, okay. So I went back down. Finally, they opened at 8. Went back over, and then. So at this point, I was at $14.50 on my bankroll at a $1,500. So I told myself, okay, I'm gonna take $50. I'm gonna go down to the bubble craps, and either I'm gonna lose my 50 or I'm gonna make my 50 back, and I'm gonna break even. So I went down there, threw $20 in. Boom, it went quick. Threw the other $30 in. Was going back and forth. Finally, I started going down. I had all the place bets up for $6, so I had about $15-16. So I had $10 left over in my rack on the bubble craps, and then I had the $6 playing. And I just started building it up, and I finally got it up to about $117. And so I cashed out of that. So boom, I made my money back. I made enough money for lunch that day at the airport, wherever I was gonna go. So yeah, I did that. I made my money back, and yeah, I went upstairs, got all my crap together, went back downstairs, cashed out, and then got my $100 deposit back. So I broke even. I went to the craps table, was watching them. I had about 30 minutes before I had a split. There was a high roller there. His side of the table, the lady came over to me. She was like, "This is gonna sound weird, but this side of the table is $100 minimum, and the other side is $25 minimum." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "No, I'm not gonna play. I'm just watching." She was like, "Okay." She was like, "I just want to let you know," but it was because he was a high roller. All the staff kept coming up and saying hi to him, so he was probably a regular, and plus a high roller. I mean, this dude was busting out thousands of dollars and throwing it on the table. I mean, he wasn't losing, but he was just getting more money out, so it was crazy. So I watched that action for a little bit. And then, okay, about 11 o'clock hit, walked to my bus stop, jumped on the bus, perfect timing. I didn't know what time they were supposed to be there, but it is literally as I was walking to the bus stop, I saw the bus behind me at the stop sign or the light. So I was like, perfect. So jumped on the bus and made my way back home. Was happy about it. Didn't lose no money for my first trip over to Vegas. And it was a blast. I got to see my boy Slam, got to play with him, got to meet up with VDC. Dude is legit, and was never doubting him, but because I had already been training with him, and but got to see him in action. And this dude was calling numbers. He was calling numbers. He was calling sevens, even which combination 7 was coming up. I was really impressed, but I got to impress him too because of my calm demeanor at the table when this dude was flipping out and being able to throw ATS too, so, and just, I just was happy with myself, with the way I was playing, with the way I was throwing, and, being at my first time for the casino and Vegas all roll in one. So it was a blast. So, that's pretty much how it went. It was a good trip for me. It wasn't a negative trip. I made all the money, made my bankroll, came back with my bankroll intact. And I was able to pay for my meals when I was there with the remaining of the winnings. So yeah, to me, all in all, it was a win. and I can't wait to get back. Hopefully I'll get to either back there in September. If not, try to get to Coshada or somewhere in Louisiana, and maybe go back in November. If I don't go back in September, I'm gonna go back in November with the wife for our anniversary. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for joining me on my little adventure, and may the dice roll in your favor. See you guys around.